Alright, so, doing another comic review, and this one is another book sent by my friend Chris. Chris, thank you once again. We're going to be talking about Godzilla x Kong, The Hunted, a book I had no idea he was going to send me. Yeah. I actually, funny story, because I know he's going to be watching this, I came this close to buying the damn thing myself. Like the day before, like ordering it offline, I was like, something's telling, like my spidey sense is tingling, and lo and behold, the next day I get this book. Yep, so thank you once again, brother. Anyway, so, Godzilla x Kong the Hunted is the prequel to Godzilla x Kong the New Empire. They've been building the MonsterVerse in comics and Legendary for a while now, even though they don't really seem to pay that much attention to the continuity. And these prequel books are just kind of like, oh, they're just something to tide you over. And they don't really give much in-depth with New Empire. It wasn't like with Kingdom Kong and Godzilla Dominion, where it was like, we get some more character to both like Kong and Godzilla. But in that one, I would say Godzilla Dominion was definitely like showcasing more of Godzilla's life. Whereas the Kong one was just kind of like, here's Kong, and here, but it's not really about Kong, it's about this pilot, and we're also going to show Camazotz. Here you go. So, this comic is very much like Godzilla x Kong, in that we get very little Godzilla, a lot of Kong. And even then, it's not even a lot about him. It's about this hunter named Raymond Martin, who is a hunter, a billionaire hunter, who was this master architect after the female Muto destroyed his home back in 2014 during the events of the first Godzilla film. He's now become like this, master hunter of. He's been sneaking into Hollow Earth. They don't go into full detail because, from what I understand, ain't that under control by Monarch solely, and like not even the United Nations military doesn't have any access to that. I would like to have some answers, please. I kind of need answers on that, guys. I feel like that's a bit of a continuity error. But yeah. And he's also built like a ridiculous-looking Jaeger suit. Kind of gives let me show you this thing real quick. This thing does not look stable. It looks garish as fuck. And, yeah. For right now, that's the closest. This is that mech suit, that hunter suit, is the closest thing we have to the MonsterVerse fighting Pacific Rim. Although, again, with crossovers being a big, growing in popularity more and more, I do believe we are going to be seeing. I think it's not a matter of if, but more of a matter of when at this point, that we're going to see at least. I don't think we're going to get a movie, but we are definitely going to get a comic of Godzilla versus Pacific Rim. We are definitely going to get a MonsterVerse Pacific Rim crossover. Now, the story itself is divided between Godzilla and Kong, with Kong living in Hollow Earth, just kind of living his days and searching for others of his kind, whereas Godzilla, all he's doing is Godzilla is just hunting Scylla, and it leads up to that final scene, to that opening scene in Rome where Godzilla and Scylla face off, and this actually gives context of what's going on. Turns out Scylla had been destroying and consuming radiation from various plants, radioactive plants, and she's been moving around the planet, and Godzilla has been chasing her. It's just only now, when we get to Rome, that's when he managed to finally catch her. So it leaves off there. It was like, to be continued in Godzilla x Kong, the New Empire. The whole thing is narrated by Godzilla's part is narrated by Bernie. Whereas the hunter, Raymond Martin, and his mech suit are in Hollow Earth hunting down Titans in the Hollow Earth, and Kong just stumbles upon them. It wasn't like, I'm going to hunt Kong specifically. No, it was like, I'm just going to kill Titans. Even though Godzilla's more the one I'm more angry at, but I don't want, like, even he says, I don't want to fight Godzilla. I'm like, you damn right you don't, not in that fuck-ass piece of shit you got. So yeah, I think like it's even mentioned that the suit wasn't even meant to like be ready to fight Kong, and Kong just stumbled upon him, upon Raymond after he kills like this thing called a spine prowler. They fight, and I gotta say, like, Brian Buccellato, the writer of this book, does know how to set up a fight scene. I will give him that the dude knows how to write a fight sequence pretty well. There's a lot of also I really enjoy the artwork in here by let me look up the artwork real quick. Artwork by Zid alongside Drew Johnson and Dario Formasani. I butchered that last name. I'm sorry, but yeah, the comic definitely, like I said, has just some great artwork too, of colors and shading and things like that. I can't do it justice here, but yeah. And again, I think the fight, like when we get to fight sequences in here between monsters, they're pretty solid. But yeah, the comic itself is a prequel comic. What are you gonna do? Like, right? Like, it does do a little mention of like a piece of wall painting of Godzilla when he encountered Shimo ages ago, but that you could have seen that in the Godzilla vs. Kong Call of Duty thing, and it would have made no goddamn difference. There's no mention of the Scar King, none of that. It's just, here's Godzilla, and he's chasing Skilla, and that's all he's doing. Meanwhile, Kong is just kind of chilling in Hollow Earth, and then he bumblefucks his way into fighting a robot. It's not a bad comic, it's just that, like, I know these prequel comic, like, I know it's a prequel comic, so the expectations are low, and I just want to have fun. And, yeah, if it does that, if the prequel comic can do that for like, yeah, just have a little fun. I will say that I think while I like this, don't get me wrong, I did like this. I think I did like Godzilla Dominion and Kingdom Kong a little more. There was a lot more story to it. There was a lot more stakes to it, and I think just like the build up for it was a lot better too. But yeah. So there you go, guys. That is my review of Godzilla x Kong the Hunted. I'd like to thank Chris once again for sending me this comic. And if you've read Godzilla x Kong the Hunted, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.